Heyo, what is up everyone? It is the Alpha J of the Alpha J Show, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 reasons to watch Rick and Morty. With season 3 being pretty good, and me doing a review of the show really soon, I thought about reversing the order. Last time I did the review first and then a top 10, now I'm doing the top 10 first and then the review. So let's get into it. Rick and Morty is a show unlike many of its contemporaries, even if you count Family Guy when it travels through time and dimensions, and Futurama. There isn't that many science fiction adult animated shows. So when you take a show like Rick and Morty and place it against its peers, it really does stand out. Yes, it does have some comedy in it, as the memes will show you, and yes, it does have some slice of life elements, which you probably know by now. But there is an aspect that has not been explored often in adult animation, and that's traveling dimensions. So if you're into that, then you'd be into the show. There are many moments within the show that the characters, primarily Rick and Morty themselves, have a very existentialist or nihilistic point of view. And if you don't know, existentialism is a philosophy in which life has the meaning of which you assign to it. Life only has meaning when you assign the meaning. Nihilism, in a very simplistic form, is that life has no meaning at all, regardless of the meaning you assign this. If you watch the show, then you know that Rick could sometimes show traits of either philosophy, and it really does make you think about life. Yes, an adult animation could do that with effort. I was just gonna put the family as a whole as a choice until I started thinking of episodes in particular, like the episode where Rick and Morty go into a micro-universe that runs a battery in another universe. I remember the characters not being one note and having motivations or quirks that made them not just another background character. Sometimes even the aliens that Rick and Morty can encounter can be very fascinating, not only from an appearance standpoint, but also their motivations in their daily life. Even in episodes in season 3, like Rick mentioning the stone, the characters besides the ones we know and love seem so interesting. Compared to its peers, Rick and Morty shines, and for the longest, you'd think that Rick and Morty was a gift from heaven. But it's really not. It's just that the show actually puts in effort to be as good as it is. It doesn't think that effort is uncool. It doesn't think that low quality is the style to aspire for. It puts in effort, and in return, it becomes one of the most popular animated shows on right now. It's kind of sad that this is a point on my list, but in the realm of adult animation, besides the occasional highly detailed animated gore fests that shows like Super Jail may offer, this subgenre of animation seems to have set the bar low for a standard animated show for grown-ups. From using a blue creature that serves one request before it dies in season 1, to visiting a planet that participates in the purging of people for one night in season 2, to becoming a pickle and trying to find your way out of a mess in season 3, these episodes clearly have adventure as the forefront of what they're trying to do. A lot of these episodes really push the boundaries of what an exciting adventure could be in a television animated show. Because of the sci-fi element, they are free to explore tons of different aspects that a realistic show couldn't conventionally offer without using a dream sequence or a television cutaway. Two scenes really stick with me today. The end of Rick Potion number 9, where Rick and Morty travel to another dimension where their alternate selves die and Morty is traumatized. The way that the episode ends is not on a happy note at all, and although we have shows like Family Guy where the episode doesn't always end on a happy note, it is never really this glum. The other scene that connects with this is where Morty confronts Summer in Rick's The Minutes and tells her that nobody belongs anywhere, nobody exists on purpose, everybody's going to die. If that isn't unorthodox for an animated show, I don't know what is. Sure, you have Mr. Pickles, Metapocalypse, 12-Ounce Mouse, which can have unconventional values, but these shows don't really make me think in the way that Rick and Morty does. Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon are very in tune with the internet community. I've seen both of them in videos with popular YouTubers, showing themselves to be very cool and relaxed people to be around. I truly appreciate that they don't come from a place of superiority. I remember seeing Roiland in a particular few live streams, and he just seems like the coolest guy to be around. I feel as a creator, you should never lose the connection you have with fans, even if you have a million or more of them. Even if it's just a general consensus, you should never disconnect yourself from the fans. Never throw yourself at the mercy of them, but never feel as though they're beneath you, because without them, then the creators wouldn't be where they are now. Speaking of the creators, let's talk a little bit about them. At least what we know. Justin Roiland Roland worked on shows such as Gravity Falls and Fishhooks, voicing Oscar, and Adventure Time. In fact, Roland openly stated that one of his influences is Pendleton Ward, who is the creator of Adventure Time. He is a very talented voice actor and creator, not only providing voices for both characters, but also providing the improvised nature that Rick and Morty shines at. Dan Harmon, on the other hand, is very talented. He worked on sitcoms and television specials, as well as The Simpsons. He works a lot with comedy, and if you watch Rick and Morty, it clearly shows. Both Rick and Morty and Adult Swim are really tight with their audience, and I use tight because if there was a word I would use to describe Rick and Morty's connection with its audience, it's casual. However, it's not just the respect for the fans, but the animation medium itself. They contribute to a lot of other animation projects, and they put a lot of effort into them. They respect themselves to give themselves ample time to create 3 good seasons. They respect their audience to sometimes even offer free airings in partnership with Adult Swim. They respect the medium by not following trends like, well, you know. This was a no-brainer. Rick and Morty themselves, like SpongeBob SquarePants, Smiles, Murphy's Law, Clarence, Phineas and Ferb, Ren and Stimpy, Fanboy and Chum Chum, Pinky and the Brain, Ed and Eddie, many others. The show is based off of the adventures of the main characters in the title. Although it leans on science fiction, it is not a strict restriction on the show. It's whatever Rick and Morty are up to. Their personalities clash very often, and the times when Rick loves his family, or when Morty feels a lot more savage, these moments truly do resonate. You cannot help but love these characters, in my opinion. Rick and Morty are not your standard duo. They often don't have the same mindset. They are unique, and people know them beyond the show. Like SpongeBob, you can talk about Rick and Morty beyond the show, and most people know them as characters. And I couldn't imagine you doing that with a show like Planet Sheen or Uncle Grandpa, for instance. And those were 10 reasons to watch Rick and Morty, and honestly, making 10 was difficult in itself, because there's so many more reasons. I even had to combine a few so I can talk about a lot of different things all under one similar point. And I'm sure you have your own reasons and your own experiences watching the show, and I would love to know about them in the comments below. And make sure to follow me at the ALPHAJ Show on Twitter and join my public Discord. Are you a fan of Rick and Morty? Maybe you aren't. Or what series should I do next? Let me know in a request video that is in the description below and the card above. If you really like this video, I highly suggest my Loud House top 10 reasons to watch video, or my last top list video, which was about the 25th anniversary of Cartoon Network. Make sure to subscribe and feel free to consider my Patreon. As always, I hope your time is well spent, and Alpha out.